hearing you talk about, your values and your mission, we have a lot of alignment there at Headspace. Our mission is very much to improve the health and happiness of the world. It's a big mission,
Yes.
something that we work day in, day out to deliver on. But we really believe that the core essentials to a sort of healthy, happy life really start with taking care of the mind and the body, as the
Yeah.
two are really, really interconnected, but often feel probably very disconnected. And so through the tools of meditation and mindfulness, we help to bring, a greater sense of awareness, of compassion into people's lives. And that was, one of the main reasons I first tried meditation, gosh, 10 years ago or so now. And I was very, very skeptical about it, very skeptical about it. But I was experiencing a huge amount of stress and anxiety in my life. My mind and body were very, very disconnected. And I didn't really have the tools available to me to know
Hmm.
how to manage the difficulties that I was facing. And it's also how our founder, Andy Puddicombe, came into meditation mindfulness. Being human sometimes is really, really tough.
It's very
Uh,
tough.
and, I think this past year has really, really tested the human condition. But more than that, life is made up of many ups, downs, twists, turns, crossroads, and it isn't always going to be an even playing field. And so if we can find and build these tools and skills to help us bring a greater sense of connection to our lives, we miss so much about what life offers us,
Right.
and to build our awareness, our connections with other human beings, even the pets that we take care of,
Right.
we're better able to build that resiliency and those
Hmm.
skills for when the ups and the downs happen. The mind body connection is often really, really disconnected.
Hmm.
And we might be physically present, but our mind is elsewhere. And we spend so much of our time not in the present moment, lost in thoughts. Uh, a lot of us spend a significant amount of time in a future that maybe hasn't happened yet, worrying. And obviously, this past year, this pandemic has really exacerbated that
Right.
sense of fear and worry, which is totally normal and natural. And at the same time, we've perhaps been ruminating over, things that have passed and our previous life and how things were. And all of that is again, it's all part of the human experience, but it does take us away from our moment to moment experiences. And we tend to miss a lot of what life offers us.
Right.
And so that mind body connection is really, really, really important.
Often the our body is a reflection of our mind, and can be vice versa. And this is an invitation for all of us who's on this call now, who will watch this later on, to really do that work around curiosity to understand how do you feel during the day, understanding when you wake up during the day and during in the afternoon, maybe even at the evening, and all these different habits that we have. Having that curiosity to understand, are we truly in step with one another as a person? And if not, recognizing maybe some times and when we can't be, and then how do we get the help? So I would love to hear a little bit about, well, specifically and selfishly, I'm a huge fan of sleep. I jokingly say if I had a superpower, that would be my superpower, because I love sleep. I can sleep at almost any time. And watching the series, I love the episode on not having your phone in front of your face
Mm.
before bed. So luckily, that's well, I shouldn't say luckily. It's a bad habit of mine, but luckily I can fall asleep. But it is interesting how it does impact the quality of sleep. I would love for people to hear from you about the importance of that one.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think, yeah, yeah, definitely are lucky that you can fall asleep very easily. There's a lot of folks who, who struggle with sleep, and I think this past year in particular has exacerbated that, tenfold.
Hmm.
But the way I sort of approach it and think about it, and a lot of this has come through, my own personal training and attempted, fails at working with my own sleep struggles over the years. But how we sleep is really impacted by what we are doing in our day. And that might sound like a really obvious thing to say, but if we are, most of us lead very busy, very full days, and we can start the day, and then before we know it, it's the end of the day, and then we're heading to bed. We haven't necessarily put any space between what we're doing in the day. And by space, I don't mean like hours and hours of time, little moments where we can check in with ourselves, take a few deep breaths, connect in with our, sensations in the body, our surroundings, so that when we get to bed, we aren't going to bed with the entire day coming with us.
Right.
Because for a lot of folks, the reason and I've experienced this as well, we struggle to literally switch off is because the mind is still going. We haven't given the mind and body any time to slow down, to kind of come together. And like I said, I said before, the body might be physically present, but the mind is elsewhere. When you go to bed, you switch off the light, and maybe you've just been responding to emails or looking on social media or responding to a text message. These things really activate the mind. And particularly so if you're dealing with perhaps a challenging email, or you're, say, emailing with your boss, or a friend has sent you a message that has worried you about something, that can really activate the stress response in the body, which is actually intended to keep you awake. The body releases hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, really keeping you in a higher state of vigilance. So that period before bed can be really, really, really helpful. Maybe just 20 minutes, 30 minutes, where we are actively slowing down both the mind and the body, so that when you do get into bed, it's a little bit easier to let go of the day and to switch off. And we have a huge section in the Headspace app, which maybe you're familiar with, on sleep. Sleep is a huge component of our health and our happiness. If we're not getting enough sleep, I mean, I'm no fun to be around when I'm tired and grouchy.
Neither am I, by the way. It's bad.
So, if we can, we have a lot of tools and resources there for winding down, for doing some meditations at the end of the day. But also meditating in the day is also really, really effective for helping us sleep at night, which might sound counterintuitive. But again, it's about introducing those moments of pause, those moments of space, so that when you do go to bed, you are actually more ready for bed.
It takes the intentionality to create the habits and to keep the habits and maintain the habits. And there's so much that happens in our life. We're not going to be perfect at it, but being intentional about it is important.
Definitely. And I recognize, you have people all over the country who are going into a really busy hospital environment. They may not always be able to take time out. They might be on different schedules, working later or working earlier. And so these are just some tools and resources that can be done like during the day, on the go. Just taking those little mini moments where you can just connect in with the body and the mind can be really, really helpful for those times that you maybe aren't able to set aside a longer period of meditation.